Hello everyone, welcome to a class on the short story Tamasha. It was written by Jeelani Bano. Myself, Arun Kumar CS from the Department of English, Government College, Manandawadi. As you already know, this short story is part of the course Women's Writings for 5th semester BA English, Kannur University. About the author, Jeelani Bano. She is an Urdu writer and activist from Hyderabad. She has written numerous short stories, novellas and translations. Roshni Ke Minar, Nirvan, etc. are some of her books. She is the recipient of many awards including the Padma Shri and Soviet Land Nehru Award. She is also an activist and the leader of many organizations for the emancipation of women. About the short story Tamasha, when we get to the plot of the story opens with an exhausted girl and she is so lean with poverty. She arrives at the doorstep of a rich family begging for food. She says, "Give me a piece of bread, give me something to eat." This is all she says in the short story. She does not say anything else, interestingly. So the only character who supports the girl and pleads with his mother to give her something to eat is a young man, a young boy called Adil. So the mother says to the girl, "Get lost." So again there is one more elderly woman character in the story, that is grandma. She says, "Wheat is selling at 3 rupees a kilo." By saying this, she means that it is so expensive to feed even the beggars. So the beggars do not have any expense, they don't have anything to pay for what they are asking. But the people, those who give them, they have certain expenses, and that expenses are pretty much high. So she says, and while she is praying, the grandma is praying and she is searching for her rosary, and at the same time she is saying this to the girl. And again Adil asks them to give her some work to do, something to eat. So Adil is very helpful for the girl. So she stands in favor of the girl and she is asking them to give her something to eat, and afterwards they can give her some work so that the food is somehow compensated. Now the girl does not even understand work, and she keeps on pleading. So for the girl, this idea of work does not exist. The only thing that exists for her is hunger and food, because she is that much hungry. She is on the verge of blacking out. Then there is another girl in the household. Her name is Azra. Azra is an educated girl. She is a rich girl, and she is also preparing for the exams. And she finds it very lucky to find a servant, because she says she is so busy cleaning and washing and doing many other things, many other household chores, and she says it's so lucky to find a servant, because she will get much more time in order to prepare for the examinations. And she is asking the girl, "Listen, wench, can you cook?" So the girl does not understand anything, and grandma is asking again one more question, "Can you cook meat?" Grandma asks the girl. So this girl is a center of attention for the whole family. And she is, nobody is sympathizing with her, although she is the center of attention. Everybody is paying her some attention, as if that is not a human being, as if it is some kind of an animal begging for food. So nobody is behaving in a humane way with the girl, and everybody is trying to make some kind of advantage of the girl. Then afterwards, after this question as to whether the girl can cook meat or not, the grandma is doubtful of her. She is asking, "Are you a Hindu?" The grandma goes on. So the girl does not understand any of this. Any of this means working, then servant, and paying for the job, the price of the wheat, also her ability or inability or willingness or unwillingness to cook meat, etc. These things the girl does not understand at all. So the elder brother comes out of his room, and he is asking the girl to send her elder sister, because the elder brother, apparently he wants to take some sexual advantage of the girl, and it is easy to see that the girl is very thin and very young, and and she is not of much use to him in any way. So he is asking the girl to send her elder sister. So by this time the girl is very tired, she is very hungry, and she is completely exhausted, and she lies down and she starts sleeping of exhaustion. And they investigate her further about her previous work experiences. The girl obviously the girl does not have any previous work experience, because she is too young to be a servant or be a worker anywhere. So the grandma suspects her as a quote unquote a thief accomplice. Grandma says she might be an assistant of the thief. If we recruit her, if we make her stay in this house, she might get up in her sleep, get up at night, and she might open the door for the thief to enter the house and rob their belongings. Then by this time the girl is very tired, and she starts sleeping. Then they fix 7 rupees for her initially, and then they cut it down to 5. The mother of apparently Adil, Azra, and the elder brother, the mother and the daughter-in-law of the grandmother, she fixes it on 7 rupees, and grandmother cuts it down to 5 rupees. Then elder brother's wife emerges. Then we know that he is a married man, and his wife emerges and gives the girl so many tasks to do. Wash this and do this and clean this, and so many tasks to do. The girl continued to sit in the hot sun, her head lowered between her knees. So this is a description of the girl from the story, and this is a quote from the story. The girl continued to sit in the hot sun, her head lowered between her knees. So this is the typical picture of a very exhausted girl, and very thin, very lean kind of a girl who is apparently wearing shabby clothes with disheveled hair, hungry, and she is she's down with hunger, and she's sitting and she's sleeping with her head between her knees. Then each of the household, they give her tasks such as watering the plants, massaging the Azra says that I have no time to water the plants and do all the stuff at home, because I have so much to prepare for the examinations. So the girl is supposed to water the plants. Then grandma says, I am so tired, and especially in the evenings I am so tired. So the girl is expected to give a massage to her body. Then Adil is very much angry, and he is frustrated of all this, and he pleads with his mother to give her some bread, and he is angry, and he leaves the scene. Then grandmother goes on inquiring about the location of her house. If they appoint her, and if she steals something, or if something is lost from the house, then they must know who is responsible for that. Somebody should stand responsible for the loss that this girl might cause to the household. So by this time the girl goes immobile. Then all those commands, various kinds of commands about the various kinds of work that she is expected to undertake, like get up and sweep the floor, wash the baby's clothes first, etc. These kinds of commands are, coming one after the other, and they continue. Then Asra is furious about the girl's cleverness, because the girl is immobile and they think that she is very clever about it, because when they start talking about work, she is not moving. That is the way they take it. Then Asra goes inside and she brings some bread. It is not that they do not have any bread, they are very rich. It's a rich household, so they have so much bread inside. So she goes inside and she takes out some bread from the inside, and in order to test the girl, she waves it. And this particular scene is the scene with which the story comes to an end, and it reminds us of the way we play with our pet animals. We show them some food and we attract them with the food that we hold in our hands. So likewise, Asra waves the bread above the girl's head in order to know whether she is pretending to be asleep or not. Then she says to the girl, "Here, catch this." So imagine a girl sitting under this very hot yard in the sun, and she is immobile, and she has gone immobile with so much of hunger and exhaustion, and she has kept her head between her knees. And there is another girl, rich girl, educated girl. She comes and she waves a piece of bread above this girl's head, and she is saying to the poor girl, "Here, catch this." And the girl does not respond, because it is not cleverness, it is not pretension. She has gone immobile. Then and the story comes to an end with these words: "The girl's head fell limp in her hand. The show had come to an end. The girl is dead." So at the end of the story, we find a dead girl. So one feels so much of anger, so much of frustration and so much of anger by the time one finishes reading this short story. So it is that kind of a short story that will, even after reading it, it will disturb the reader. So in that sense, it's a very successful short story, as one can see. Then about the girl is it is interesting that the girl is unnamed and she is unidentified, and she is poor and she is starving and she is shabby, because the girl does not have any identity, as one can see, because the very markers of identity, the first one being one's name, is denied to the girl, because the girl is unnamed. So nobody knows the name of the girl, nobody knows from the story, nobody knows where she has come from, nobody knows where she belongs to, who her parents are, who her relatives are, what kind of girl that is. These things no one knows. She is almost like some kind of an island. She's in a no man's, that kind of a person she is, and she stands as an outsider in the yard, in the sun, in the hot sun. So the demarcation of the space is very much important in this short story, as one can see. So the girl stands in the yard and she does not move. And what about the yard? The yard with the hot sun, under the hot sun she stands, and all the other members of the household, even including Adil, they stay inside the house. So there is a very clear-cut demarcation between the domestic space and the space outside, which is described as a place of this hot sun. So that hot sun is indicative of the nature of girl's life, the suffering, the pain and the poverty, all those things. And she is objectified. She is seen not as an individual, not as a human being, and not as a girl. She is seen as an object from which they are also, all of them are thinking what kind of advantage, what kind of benefit they can extract from her. So she is objectified as the other of all these people in terms of class, because she is very poor, these people are rich. In terms of gender, there are male characters in the story such as Adil and the elder brother, and the female characters, although they are biologically female, they have internalized patriarchal notions, one can see. And also she is objectified and she is authorized in terms of religion, because these names Adil and Azra, all these names indicate that this is a Muslim household, and this girl is suspected of being a Hindu, because when it comes to cooking meat, grandma is asking, can you cook meat? And the next question is whether the girl was a Hindu or not. So there is a discrimination in terms of religion, and the girl is an embodiment of the lack of agency, as one can see. She is denied voice, she is a victim of silencing of female voice, and she is only a victim of circumstances, as one can see. She is not at all active, she has no voice and she has no agency. And she is also the object of male gaze, because all the characters observe her appearance, especially the elder brother. He plans to make some kind of advantage, especially some kind of sexual advantage of this girl, especially when he thinks about the last servant who had worked there, and apparently he had taken some kind of advantage of her, and she kind of in a way she spread that news around the neighborhood, and he is very much angry about her. Now this girl might not do such a thing. She might not spread around this news in the house, in the household, and also in the neighborhood. But then later he observes, he very clearly, very intently he observes that this girl is not of much use to him, because she is so thin, she is so young, and she is so tired of poverty. So that is why he is asking the girl to send her elder sister. So there, this male gaze from the elder brother is very much clear there. So this male gaze is not only loaded with gender difference, but also it is loaded with the class difference and also the religious difference. And her identity is misconstructed, as one can see, as a thief, and as a Hindu, and as an accomplice, etc. So she does not have any identity at all, she does not have any agency at all, but then she is provided with an identity, or rather one would say an identity is thrust upon her in a way, and this identity that is thrust upon her is gravely misconstructed as a thief, as a Hindu, and as an accomplice. And the girl is not even in a position to comprehend the identities that are thrust upon her, and one can see that she is a victim of gender and class and religious prejudices. So the tamasha, that means fun and jokes. The word meaning of tamasha is fun and jokes. So this tamasha is played on her by the privileged family. So she is largely an unprivileged person, a marginalized person, a person who does not have any access to wealth, education, and all those things. So these people are playing fun and jokes upon the girl because she is not privileged. So finally, at the end of the story, she dies. So the death of the girl indicates complete silence and silencing of the oppressed sections of the society, because these silences are not forced upon them by force, by physical force or by coercion. So these silencing is done through discursive means. So one can see that nobody goes to the girl in the story, nobody goes to the girl and asks her to shut up. So nobody goes to the girl and asks her to just die out. So the girl is a victim. So all this is done not by force, but by discursive means. So these people are creating an identity. So in a discursive process, an identity is misconstructed, and that identity kind of strangles the girl, and she cannot even bear that identity, and she dies at the end of it. So when we think about the themes of this short story, the main theme of the story is the class difference or the poverty. So the one remarkable thing about that girl who arrives at the doorstep of the rich household is that she is extremely poor. She cannot be poorer. So the difference between the class difference, the difference between the privileged class and the unprivileged and the marginalized sections of the society is very much clear, and that is the heart and soul of the short story. And there is a description of her from the story. It says, no flesh on any part of her body. So that means that shows the extent of her poverty, and her poverty is responsible for reducing her to being a mere object without agency. So she is an object of exploitation due to her poverty, because it is her poverty that reduces her, that belittles her to the position of being an object. And also the place where she stands outside the house, rock hard floor of the courtyard. So rock hard floor of the courtyard where sun beats mercilessly, and in the hot sun. So she stands for the harsh life she goes through. So the place where she stands is very hostile. It is very that is not at all a favorable place for the girl to stand up. So that is why that is also one of the reasons why she sits down and she starts sleeping and she goes immobile and she dies. So that location and the space indicates her poor condition, her condition without agency, and her life of suffering and agony, and also of discrimination. So her poverty has reduced her to a thief or an accomplice. So she is a victim of so many prejudices that the rich of the society would love to cherish. Then another central theme of the story is gender difference. So a girl is being placed outside as an object, and she is denied speech and her voice goes unheard. So she is denied a voice, and she is denied even food only because she is a girl. So she is under male gaze, as one can see, of the elder brother and Adil, and also there are other female members of the household, as one can see, but then they are characters who have, although they are females, although they are women, they have internalized the patriarchal, the male the male dominance, and the notions of patriarchy, and they are thinking just like the male members of the household. So her value is gauged in terms of her capacity to give sexual pleasure. This is one thought that arises in the mind of the elder brother. So for the elder brother, she is only a sexual object, an object for sexual pleasure. Then she is is pushed out as a useless object because she is so thin and she is so young and she is of no use for him. So all the others are also coming almost to the same conclusion because nobody can see her a very good servant in her because of her incapacity to work. So her gender identity does not stand alone, as one can see, that is in relation, that is intertwined with her class position and her religious position. And there are other themes also. One is religion, because as I said, the names in the household such as Adil and Azra, they suggest that this is a Muslim household, and in a Muslim household, a girl from the outside, an outsider, is seen as a threat because she can be a Hindu. Nobody knows where she is coming from, so nobody knows anything about her. So she can be a Hindu, and that is one reason why she is seen as a threat. She is not seen as a friend, she is not seen as a neighbor, rather instead she is seen as a threat because of her religious position. So her rejection from the house is also due to her religious identity. And what about that identity? Is that a genuine identity? Is that her own identity? We don't know. So that identity is constructed, that is misconstructed because of these various kinds of prejudices enjoyed by the privileged classes. And that misconstructed identity becomes a reason why she is expelled from the household. And at the core of the story, there is patriarchy. Patriarchy is represented by the elder brother, but also we also know that not only in the elder brother, the women of the household such as Azra, her mother, elder brother's wife and grandma, they are all stand for patriarchy because they have all internalized some notion of patriarchy, the tendency of patriarchy to discriminate and exploit women, and to see a girl or a woman as sexual objects, and as objects from which one can take advantage, some kind of advantage, either physical or sexual. So these kinds of patriarchal notions even the women of the household have internalized. The only character who support the girl in some way is Adil, and he is helpless. One can see that he is the youngest of the three children, so he is almost helpless. So he pleads again and again, and at the end of it, all his pleadings are of no use. They are all in vain, and he goes angry and he goes out. He leaves the scene, and soon after that, the girl ends. So this is a very heart-wrenching tragedy, as one can see, because a girl who arrives at the doorstep of a rich household, a household that is sure to have so much of bread and all the edible items, and this girl is begging for food, and everybody gathers, and she is denied food, she is denied voice, and she is denied any chance to survive, although she could have been helped. So this is a very touching kind of a tragedy, and the main themes of this story are, as we have already seen, there is class difference, and there is gender difference, and there is religious difference, and at the core of all this there is patriarchy. There is male dominated mindset that goes into all the characters of the household except perhaps Adil, and this mindset is responsible for reducing the girl to mere an object. For some characters, she is a sexual object, she is under male gaze, and she is about to be exploited, she is one that is to be exploited, and this girl is denied of all true identity. She is thrust, she is given a misconstructed identity, and that identity reduces her to being a threat to the household, to to an object, to a sexual object, and suffering all this, the girl dies at the end of the story, which is very, very tragic. And even the death of the girl, that suggests this inability of the suppressed sections of the society to speak. So the death of the girl stands for the death of the voice of the oppressed sections. So one might be reminded of this Gayatri Spivak's famous question, can the subaltern speak? And obviously the answer is they cannot speak for themselves. The others might speak for them, but then those who speak for her, they make this kind of a false identity out of her, and this identity is thrust upon her, and this misconstructed identity is responsible for the silence in turn. So this is some kind of a trap from which the girl could not have escaped, and she dies at the end of it. So I think this is a very short story, and it's not lengthy, so you can easily finish reading it, and so one have so much to think about: the gender difference, the sex difference, and discrimination in terms of class difference, in terms of religious difference, and at the core of it, patriarchy operating all this. And also interestingly, there are the ways in which space is represented and also manipulated in the short story. These things are very, very interesting, as one can see. I hope it is clear to you by now. Thank you.